Hello and welcome to Spotlight on the African Continental Free Trade Area with me, Jones Awuah. Here's what's coming up on today's show. A historic partnership with AfCFTA and Future Investment Initiative aims at securing over 1.2 billion people in 55 nations from counterfeit and illicitly traded products. We will also be looking at the Agenda 2063 and how it will transform Africa. Plus, we bring you updates on COVID-19 across the continent of Africa and much more. Now, in case you're new to the show and you're wondering what the AfCFTA is about or what is the big fuss, well, let me help you. The AfCFTA, which is the African Continental Free Trade Area, was birthed from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which was adopted by the African Union in Kigali, Rwanda in 2018. The AfCFTA seeks to establish a single continental market that allows the export and import of goods and services amongst the various state parties. On the 1st of January 2021 was the official date for the start of trading duty-free, quota-free amongst state parties for goods and services which qualify under the protocols. Now, the Secretariat of the AfCFTA with Future Investment Initiative and Origin OSA have announced a partnership representing a historic effort and opportunity to harness their respective strengths to eradicate counterfeit and illicitly traded products from the AfCFTA nations.
You have a tremendous task on your hand to increase the prosperity, the safety, and the health of your citizens. How do you see the fight against counterfeiting and illicit trade helping you in this mission?
The problem that we have on the African continent of counterfeit goods, illicit trade is tremendous. It impacts on public health. It impacts on the ability of governments to collect revenue. And of course, it displaces local markets, genuine competitors in the local markets. And therefore, we have to take concrete steps to make sure that we mitigate the risk. I don't think, like any other criminal activity, we may never be able to completely eliminate it, but we have to put very, very concrete measures to fight and prevent the spread of counterfeit goods, illicit trade. In the area of pharmaceuticals, up to 30%, if not more, up to 30% of products in pharmaceuticals are counterfeit on the African continent. And this has a very negative effect on public health. It has a negative effect on the economies of African countries. And so I'm very happy that today, as you said, we entered into this arrangement to make sure that we deploy the best technology to fight back against counterfeit and illicit trade.
Thank you, Secretary General. Maybe to illustrate even further how dramatic the problem is, the WHO not too long ago published numbers that over 120,000 people die every year in sub-Saharan Africa just from fake malaria medicine. There is absolutely no reason for this to happen. These medicines, they have traceability solutions. They can be traced, they can be verified, they can be authenticated, yet a consumer, a government official, a law enforcement officer, a caretaker, and of course the patient are not able to verify the authenticity of these products. I'd like to ask you, how can the industry help you, Secretary General, to achieve our common goal here?
So what we've done is we have a free trade agreement that reduces barriers to trade on the African continent, and that will result in enhanced movement and transit of goods through the borders. So we've got to take countervailing measures to prevent counterfeit goods and illicit trade. And as I said earlier, the arrangement that we have entered into today launches that fight back campaign The private sector is absolutely critical. We cannot do this alone. As governments and as the public sector, we have to partner with the private sector in deploying the latest technology, as you mentioned, tracing, authentication. All of these things are absolutely essential tools for us to fight this scourge, and we cannot do it as just public sector alone. This also affects the private sector, whether it is Pan-African private sector or global private sector. We know that the projections are that by the end of next year, there will be close to $900 billion worth of illicit trade and counterfeit goods transiting through borders. And this is an urgent problem that we've got to tackle together, the private sector and organizations such as ours, which is the AfCFTA Secretariat.
Thank you, Secretary General. I see we're approaching the red zone already, unfortunately, of this wonderful dialogue with you. I would like to join you in congratulating the organizers of this event, the FII, its leadership, also for their courage to allow us and to give us the privilege to be here today.
That was His Excellency Wamkele Mene, General Secretary of the AfCFTA, talking about counterfeits in general, but more importantly, counterfeits in medicine across the continent of Africa, and coming up with ways to not just stop it in total, but at least to reduce the level of counterfeits products across the continent of Africa. According to the World Health Organization, 42% of all fake medicines reported to them between 2013 and 2017 were from Africa. Also, according to accounting firm PwC, the proportion of fake pharmaceuticals in some countries can be as high as 70% in developing regions such as Africa. Now, according to the World Health Organization, 1 out of every 10 medical product in low and middle income countries, which includes most of Africa, is substandard or fake. So this partnership with the AfCFTA and Future Investment Initiative and Origin OSA would definitely help to tackle this phenomenon. Now let's talk about the Agenda 2063 and what it means for Africa. Now, the Agenda 2063 is a blueprint and master plan for transforming Africa into the global powerhouse of the future. It has the continent's strategic framework that aims to deliver on its goal for inclusive and sustainable development, and is a concrete manifestation of the Pan-African drive for unity, self-determination, freedom, progress, and collective prosperity pursued under Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance. Here's a short story highlighting one of the aspirations of Agenda 2063.
Zola, do you ever think about what Africa would look like in the next 50 or 100 years?
Africa? What's there to think about Africa? I mean, I'm here to figure out my life, not to talk of almighty Africa. Anyway, why do you ask?
Well, given the situation of Africa in the past, and I wonder if things would get better by then. You know, I read in the news that in some parts of Africa, people don't even have access to good schools, proper healthcare, and even basic amenities everyone should have.
50 years is a long time, but I believe things will be better then.
Me too. You know, sometimes I just wish I had the power to change things.
As African youth, we have the power to create the Africa we want.
My goods have been there for over 5 months. I haven't been able to trade because they've shut down the borders.
Wow, Charlie, you are still worried about your goods. My business has been shut down because of inadequate power supply. I wonder when we'll have steady power supply in this part of Africa, eh?
I wonder too. It's just so annoying.
We desire and demand an Africa that is peaceful and secure.
an Africa where young and old, men and women, girls and boys from all walks of life are united in their diversity. An Africa whose growth and development are sustainable and inclusive, benefiting and bringing prosperity to all its citizens. An integrated continent, politically united, based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the vision of Africa's Renaissance. An Africa where good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law are the guiding principles of our societies. This is an Africa where we are confident in our identity, heritage and culture and shared values. Our very thriving Africa where young people contribute at all levels of society. And ultimately, an Africa which is an influential global player responsible for managing her resources and financing her peace and development. Let us unite to build the Africa we want.
That is the Africa that we want. It's time for a quick break. Grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee and stay tuned because there's more right after this break.